It started with a photograph, a single image that set the internet on fire. Jamie Dornan, usually composed and effortlessly elegant, was spotted arriving at a London event without his wedding ring. At first, no one wanted to believe it. Fans dismissed it as a styling choice, maybe even a simple oversight. But in the world of Hollywood, where every detail is magnified and every silence becomes a headline, one missing ring can sound like thunder. Within hours, tabloids across the globe began circulating the same headline. As Jamie Dornan headed for divorce? Hashtags trended, online detectives analyzed his body language, and fans scrolled through Amelia Warner's social media, looking for clues. They noticed she hadn't posted a photo with Jamie in months. In fact, her last post about him had been over a year ago, a quiet message of support for his film, buried beneath a sea of unrelated updates. For years, Jamie and Amelia had been seen as one of Hollywood's rare success stories. Their marriage seemed steady, private, grounded in something deeper than fame. They raised 3 daughters away from the spotlight, balancing artistic passion with family warmth. Amelia, once a rising musician and actress, had chosen a quieter life, focusing on her music and motherhood. Jamie often spoke about her with admiration. "She's my anchor," he once said. "The calm to my chaos." But lately, that calm had begun to feel distant. Rumors didn't start overnight. They grew slowly, like cracks beneath a polished surface. Some noticed how Jamie had been attending red carpets alone, smiling for cameras but with a certain heaviness in his eyes. Others pointed out Amelia's subtle withdrawal from public life. "She doesn't walk beside him anymore," one magazine wrote. And then there were the interviews. Moments where Jamie hesitated when asked about family life, giving short, vague answers where he once overflowed with affection. Still, fans hoped it was nothing more than gossip. After all, Hollywood loves to tear down its most grounded love stories. But then came the whisper that changed everything. Insiders claiming that Jamie and Amelia had been living separate lives for months. It was never confirmed, but the silence from both sides only made it louder. The turning point came when Jamie sat down for a brief interview during the promotion of his new project. The host, careful yet curious, brought up the topic everyone was secretly waiting for. "People are talking a lot about your personal life lately," she began. Jamie smiled, but it wasn't his usual charming grin. It was tighter, almost weary. "That's part of the job, I suppose," he replied quietly. "You learn that sometimes silence says more than words ever could." That sentence was all it took. The internet exploded. "Jamie Dornan finally speaks out," screamed one headline. "A cryptic confession?" asked another. His words, meant to deflect, only deepened the mystery. Was he hinting at trouble? Was it a quiet acknowledgement of something already lost? Behind the scenes, friends described a man torn between loyalty and exhaustion. "Jamie loves his family deeply," one close source said, "but he's human. The industry, the distance, the pressure, it changes people. It changes relationships." Amelia, meanwhile, remained completely silent. No posts, no statements, no appearances. That silence became its own echo, filling the void his words had left behind. Those who knew them as a couple described the contrast vividly. Jamie, emotional and expressive, often wore his heart on his sleeve. Amelia, introverted and self-contained, preferred to deal with things privately. For years, their balance worked, his chaos, her calm. But somewhere along the way, the rhythm faltered. Fame had a way of turning love into performance, and both had grown tired of pretending everything was perfect. The fans, once enchanted by their love story, were now divided. Some defended them fiercely. "They've been married for over a decade. Let them be." Others dissected every detail. The absence of his ring, the lack of her photos, the tone in his interviews. It wasn't cruelty, just curiosity, but it hurt all the same. That night, Jamie attended another event alone. Under the flashing lights, he posed, smiled, and answered questions about his film. But one journalist dared to ask, "How is Amelia doing?" He paused for a second, then said softly, She's doing what she does best, staying strong." It was tender, almost protective, yet heavy with finality. As he turned away from the microphones, there was something in his eyes, not anger, not denial, but acceptance. The kind of acceptance that comes when a storm can no longer be ignored. And while the world debated what his words really meant, Amelia's silence became even more deafening. She hadn't spoken, not once, but her absence spoke volumes. The love story that once felt untouchable now hung by a thread of unanswered questions. By morning, headlines blared across every platform. Jamie Dornan breaks his silence. Amelia refuses to respond. But those who looked deeper could sense it. Something had changed, something quiet but irreversible. The story wasn't over yet, but the silence between them was beginning to tell its own truth. By the time the sun rose over Los Angeles the next morning, Jamie Dornan's words were everywhere. His brief interview, barely 2 sentences long, had ignited a wildfire. Every entertainment outlet dissected it frame by frame, searching for clues in the way he blinked, the tone of his voice, even the hesitation before his smile. Silence says more than words ever could. It was poetic, haunting, and open to interpretation. And that was precisely the problem. Amelia Warner, however, remained completely invisible. No public statements, no cryptic Instagram captions, no quiet likes on social media. Her silence, once a symbol of elegance and grace, now became a mystery that fans couldn't stop talking about. Some called her strength admirable. Others accused her of being cold, distant. But those who truly understood Amelia knew she had always processed pain privately, away from the crowd. Behind closed doors, Jamie's team scrambled to manage the chaos. He didn't mean to make it worse, one insider told a magazine. Jamie just wanted to be respectful. Yet respect wasn't enough to silence the storm. Paparazzi followed him everywhere, hoping to catch a glimpse of a wedding ring that no longer appeared. Photographers camped outside the couple's home, waiting for any sign of movement, any confirmation that the fairy tale had truly ended. Meanwhile, whispers began circulating about what had really happened. Some claimed distance had eroded their connection. Jamie's demanding filming schedule had taken him away for months at a time, leaving Amelia to handle family life alone. Others pointed to creative differences. Amelia's quiet, music-filled life versus Jamie's fast-paced world of film premieres and interviews. But those closest to them insisted it wasn't betrayal or scandal. It was simply exhaustion. They loved each other deeply, said one family friend. They just stopped speaking the same emotional language. As the headlines grew louder, Jamie decided to confront the noise head-on. During a live television appearance promoting his latest project, he addressed the subject with the same calm that had once made him so beloved. "People think fame makes you untouchable," he said, looking straight into the camera. "But fame just puts a magnifying glass on everything you wish could stay private. Marriage, love, family, they all have seasons. Some last forever, and some teach you who you are." The studio fell silent. It wasn't a confession, but it wasn't denial either. It was the voice of a man accepting change with grace. That clip went viral within minutes, shared with captions like, "Jamie finally admits it's over," and, "A heartbreaking truth delivered with dignity." His honesty touched people in a way gossip never could. Even those who had once judged him felt a pang of empathy. Amelia, still silent, was spotted days later in London, walking with a close friend. No ring, no makeup, just a simple coat and lowered eyes. The photos were bittersweet. She didn't look broken, but she didn't look untouched either. To the fans who once idolized their love story, it was confirmation of what they had feared. The end had quietly arrived. And yet, there was no bitterness between them. Insiders revealed that Jamie had flown to London shortly after his interview, not for damage control, but to see his daughters and speak privately with Amelia. It wasn't an argument, the source said. It was closure. There were tears, but also respect. They talked for hours, about the past, the years they had built together, and the family they would always share. By the end of that meeting, something unspoken had settled between them: peace. When Jamie returned to Los Angeles, reporters surrounded him again. This time, he smiled softly and said, "We're doing what's best for our family. That's all that matters." He didn't elaborate, didn't defend, didn't deny. His tone was calm, his eyes tired but clear. It was the sound of acceptance, the kind that comes only after love has weathered every storm and finally finds stillness on the other side. Over the following weeks, the frenzy slowly faded. New headlines took over, new scandals rose to replace the old. Jamie threw himself into work, while Amelia focused on music and motherhood. They remained connected, not as husband and wife in the public eye, but as two people who had shared something rare and real. Occasionally, their paths crossed, a school event, a birthday, a quiet family gathering. Each time, those present described the same scene. No tension, just quiet familiarity, like two souls who had learned to forgive life for being complicated. Hollywood moved on, but their story lingered in the background, a quiet reminder that love isn't always loud or everlasting. Sometimes it's soft, like a song that fades before its final verse, leaving behind only echoes of something beautiful. In one of his later interviews, Jamie was asked what love meant to him now. He paused, smiled faintly, and said, "It's not about holding on forever. It's about knowing when to let go without hate." And perhaps that was the truest ending of all, not a scandal, not a headline, but two people choosing dignity over drama, silence over spectacle, and peace over pretending.